In today's video, I'm going to talk about growth versus fixed mindset in a creativity practice. Hey Sugar Snaps, welcome to the Textile and YouTube channel. If you're new here, right now we're doing a 31-day challenge around the concept of developing a daily creative practice. So you can find a corresponding ebook in the description below to follow along with us. If you're back again, if you're an old friend, welcome in and welcome to day 15 of the challenge. If you're following along with the ebook, we're going to be covering chapter 15, growth versus fixed mindset. Today I have a mug of hot cocoa. This is a keto cocoa recipe that I've been enjoying. Has protein powder, collagen, cocoa, and lots of other good for you stuff. It's a little bit too cocoa-y or dark for my husband, so it's not for everybody, but I've really started to crave it in the afternoons, and it's just kind of a boost of energy. So that's what I'm drinking. And then my project today is not necessarily a work in progress. This is actually Read, I'm Going to Die for one of our basketry kits that we sell in our shop. The colorful market basket. I need to dye this in our kind of tan orange color so that Bailey can make up the kits. So that's what I'm going to be working on. I'd love to hear what you are working on and what you're drinking today. If you want to leave a comment below, we can share our projects down there. Love to hear that. Today we're talking about growth versus fixed mindset. So I'm going to read the chapter and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. So pull the book over here. Chapter 15, Growth versus Fixed Mindset. This idea has been mentioned in previous chapters, but it's important enough to receive a devoted chapter to explore it a little deeper. Your mindset is one of the most important factors in establishing and maintaining a consistent creative practice. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck identified two core mindsets shaping how we approach challenges and our growth potential: fixed and growth mindsets. A fixed mindset. With a fixed mindset, you believe your creative abilities and intelligence are static traits that can't be changed. You think you're either born with talent or you're not. Challenges feel threatening because they could reveal your limitations. When faced with obstacles, you give up more quickly, believing that having to work hard means you lack innate ability. A fixed mindset stifles your motivation to practice regularly and undertake ambitious creative projects. It leads to avoidance of anything that might lead to failure or challenge your self-image as a creative person. A growth mindset. In contrast, a growth mindset is the belief that one can develop skills and intelligence through dedicated and hard work. With this mindset, challenges are exciting because they're opportunities to learn and grow. Failure is not a reflection of your fixed ability, but a chance to improve. Embracing a growth mindset is key to developing a sustainable creative practice. It allows you to focus on the process over the end product. You find motivation in the day-to-day work of honing your craft, knowing that your efforts will eventually lead to mastery. Cultivating a growth mindset. A growth mindset is a powerful step to keep you showing up with the courage to tackle intimidating projects. 3 ways to cultivate a growth mindset. Number 1, embrace challenges. View challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. Approach each project with curiosity and a willingness to experiment and adapt. 2, learn from feedback. Seek feedback from peers, mentors, or your project buddy. Constructive feedback provides fresh insights and helps you identify areas for improvement. 3, celebrate achievements. Celebrate your achievements, no matter how small. Recognizing your progress reinforces a positive mindset, becoming a positive spiral. Talent is not a fixed trait, but a muscle that grows with consistent exercise. Believe in your ability to develop as a creative and put in the work to make it happen. Here are some ways to identify if you have a fixed mindset in your creative pursuits. Avoiding challenges and risk-taking. If you find yourself shying away from new creative challenges or experimenting with different techniques and styles out of fear of failure, this may indicate a fixed mindset. Examples: an artist who sticks to one medium or subject matter they've mastered, never branching out. A writer who never attempts a new genre or style of writing to avoid potential criticism. Fearing and avoiding feedback. Being overly sensitive to criticism or actively avoiding sharing your creative work with others to prevent negative feedback is a sign of fixed mindset thinking. For example, an artist who struggles with sharing their work, fearing others' opinions. becoming defensive when receiving constructive feedback on your writing rather than seeing it as an opportunity to improve. Belief that creativity is an innate talent. If you believe creative ability is something you're either born with or not and can't be substantially developed through practice and effort, you likely have a fixed creative mindset. This is reflected in thoughts like, I'm just not a creative person, or you either have it or you don't when it comes to artistic talent. Comparing yourself to others. Constantly comparing your skills and creative output to others and feeling threatened by their successes indicates a fixed mindset. For instance, feeling jealous of another maker's accomplishments rather than being inspired by what's possible. Seeing other creatives as competitors rather than potential collaborators. Giving up easily. Having a fixed mindset means you're more likely to give up when faced with obstacles, failures, or plateaus in progress. Signs include abandoning a project at the first mistake rather than finding a creative way to solve the oops. Quitting when you get stuck. The key is to look for thought patterns and behaviors driven by a belief that one's abilities are fixed traits rather than skills that can be developed. With self-awareness, you can gradually shift to a growth mindset that embraces challenges, persists through difficulties, seeks out feedback, and finds inspiration in the success of others. Note from Brittany. When my audience was my family, friends, and folks who loved me, I thought I had a growth mindset. After all, I mostly agree with and live by the growth mindset idea. Until my audience grew. More eyes on my work, more criticism on what I made or done. Then I realized that I still have room to grow and embrace the growth mindset, especially in the area of receiving and processing criticism. Question of the day. How do you respond to challenges or criticism in your creative work? What is one way you can shift your mindset to see these moments as opportunities for growth rather than setbacks? So, as I shared in the book, I definitely have found, especially the past year, that I have a lot of room in the concept of growth mindset to grow. I need to embrace criticism more than I do and realize that my worth isn't wrapped up in how good my work is or that kind of thing. And that's really hard to grapple with and come to a place of ease or peace with, I think. But in that, once we were writing this chapter, I realized, yeah, I definitely have room to grow and need to be challenged in this area so that I can develop more of a receptivity, if that's a word, to criticism and adjusting and making adjustments to what I'm doing, because I think I'll just be a better person and a better artist by doing so. Sorry, the read is a little bit loud. So I definitely have room to grow in this area. I don't know where you're at in your creative journey and whether you embrace the growth mindset or the fixed mindset, but I'd be interested to hear if you have any thoughts on your progress or process in this area and how you find ways to receive feedback and embrace feedback and embrace the successes of the folks around you. That's kind of a maybe hard thing to say, but feeling jealous or not enthusiastic about somebody else's success is kind of like, it's an icky feeling to think that you aren't that way, that you aren't enthusiastic about somebody else's progress. And yet I think it's something that creatives and people that pursue a high mastery in something, we have a hard time accepting that there might be somebody out there that's better than we are. I don't know. I think that's a human condition thing. I'm getting very existential here, so if this is not your cup of tea, I totally understand. So for my whip here, dyeing, this reed is really difficult to dye evenly because it's flat. And so when I bundle it up, the pieces stick together and then areas of the reed doesn't dye evenly. But I found that if I don't bundle them, then trying to move things around, they just get bigger and bigger in the pot. So what I might have to do for this type of reed is do one piece at a time, or bundle one piece at a time. Just trying to experiment with different ways to be successful at dyeing this. With 1/4 inch wide reed, I don't usually have as much of a problem, but the thicker the reed, the more the issue. Another thing that I realized in my journey in life and also in creativity is that I really struggle with change. I've always struggled with change. There's a time growing up where I had a designated spot at the dining room table, and the family thought it would be fun to change things up and have everyone's designated spot move around. And I just had kind of a meltdown. And it's just my spot at the table. It wasn't that big of a deal. But that kind of exemplifies the need for stability and consistency in my environment. And when that isn't happening and when things are fluid, it's a little bit, I don't know, feels unstable or uncomfortable. So that's an area that I am definitely growing in as I experience more things. We travel often, and that definitely puts me in, or us in, a position to have things constantly changing and not have creature comforts consistently and all of that. So I definitely know that I am growing in that area. I'm loosening up. I don't have a freak out if my spot at the table changes anymore. That was Brittany at 12, not where I'm at now, but definitely see some of those tendencies even now. And yeah, in the process of thinking through growth and thinking through how to improve my creative work, I feel like these little thoughts and little self-assessments are really helpful, because it can really just settle me into where I'm at, appreciating where I'm at, and then moving forward from there. Knowing that I don't have to be this version of me forever. There is growth potential. So, growth mindset. And I think there's a constant push-pull kind of back and forth between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, where it's a constant readjustment of, am I thinking of this situation with the idea that I can improve, or am I thinking of this as this is how I'm always going to be? Whether it's like a personality thing or a skill sort of thing where you're developing or learning how to do something new. There's that messy middle kind of area, or the place where there's just feelings of roadblock when you're learning something new, that just is very uncomfortable, and it can be easy to fall into the fixed mindset. Oh, I'm never going to get this because I don't have the ability to figure this out, or to learn this, or to be good at this. Anyway, that's quite a bit of rambling about growth and fixed mindset. I'd love to hear any thoughts that you want to add to the conversation. If you want to leave a comment below, yeah, and what your thoughts are on the idea of fixed or growth mindset. If you think that that is something that you've experienced, or maybe struggle with that push-pull kind of concept. And something that I really want to see developed or continue to develop in the creative community. I think the creative community is very welcoming and accepting of a lot of different levels, but there can still be a little bit of a sense of trying to be better than the next person, or trying to I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but maybe a little bit of unhealthy competition, or comparison, when it's always a sense of, oh, this person did something that's cooler than what I'm doing, or they're better at that thing than I am, or they knit patterns that are more complicated than I do, or I just think it's something that learning to celebrate somebody else's achievements for where they're at, not based on where you're at, is really valuable. And something that I definitely want to develop in myself and develop here in the Textile Indie community as a value or a thing to work towards, developing a sense of celebration and appreciation of others' creativity and others' work. Every day I've been trying to share the project that I've come up with that day. This is in the concept that as creatives, we have a constant developing list of projects that we wish we could do or wish we had time for, and things that we dream up. And if that's not you, if your list of projects is manageable, then more power to you. My list is ever growing, and sometimes I take things off the list if like a season changes and in my life and I no longer have an interest in something, but usually I'm just adding to the list. So today's project idea that I've been thinking about, and I think this is probably coming out of working with the basket reed because it's basket related, is doing a melon basket, which is a ribbed basket style, and dyeing reed using a natural dye or a series of natural dyes, and doing it so that the reed is kind of variegated, I guess, where the colors go from lighter to darker. What is that called? Ombre. Where it's kind of ombre, where it's the same dye or same series of dyes, but you have a darker, a medium, and a light that leads into something light, medium, dark, or something like that. And so you weave the body of the basket with dyed reed in multiple tones and have that kind of variegation or ombre effect happen. So that is my project idea of the day. If you have a project idea, add it to the comments. Again, love to hear about that, or send me an email. If you haven't joined our email list, you can sign up using the link in the description below. Send me your ideas. We'd love to hear those. You can join in the conversation there. So I have quite a few of these bundled up. I think the smaller bundles are actually going to work really well. I'm a little concerned that here where I have this tied, they're smashed together, so I may have to open those up through the dyeing process, but it's going to be a little bit more tedious to get these to dye evenly, I'm realizing. So definitely one or two, well, I'm doing like 2 to 3 pieces per bundle here, and then tying them together. So not the fastest dyeing experience, but that's okay. Okay, today's quote: the human capacity for burden is like bamboo, far more flexible than you'd ever believe at first glance. I thought this was inspiring and motivating because sometimes I find myself thinking, oh, this is going to be too hard. I don't think I can handle this. And her point being bamboo, being very flexible, we have that same capacity. We can be very flexible to change and to learning new things and kind of overcoming difficulty of a new challenge. Kind of motivating. Well, as you work on your whips throughout the challenge this month, you may want something to watch to keep you company. I have this video as a suggestion, something that you can watch and kind of go along the creative process with me on some of my projects. Until next time, happy making, and I'll see you in the next challenge.